he sells all that he has and buys the field. The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure buried in a field, which a person finds and hides again, and out of joy goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant searching for fine pearls. When he finds a pearl of great price, he goes and sells all that he has and buys it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net thrown into the sea, which collects fish of every kind. When it is full, they haul it ashore and sit down to put what is good into buckets. What is bad, they throw away. Thus it will be at the end of the age. The angels will go out and separate the wicked from the righteous and throw them into the fiery furnace, where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth." "Do you understand all these things?" They answered, "Yes." And he replied, "Then every scribe who has been instructed in the kingdom of heaven is like the head of a household who brings from his storeroom both the new and the old." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. You know, over the years, I've read a number of stories about people who've been pulled by the Spirit to do one thing or another, or maybe perhaps even go on a retreat, or to make a pilgrimage to a holy place. One such holy place is in Spain, and it is known as the Camino of Santiago, or the Way of St. James. Tradition has it that St. James was given the apostolic responsibility of taking the good news to Western Europe. And in the year 44 AD, while in Jerusalem, he was beheaded, dying the death of a martyr for the faith. His remains were carried from Jerusalem back to the northwest part of Spain, to a place which later became known as the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela. It is said that pilgrims initially made the journey for spiritual reasons, to include a reduction of the time spent in purgatory. The people of CaminoWays.com, who organize and guide people from all over the world, have done surveys to determine why people decide to come to Spain and walk the paths of the Camino to make their way to Compostela. Some of them just want to get away from the drudgery of everyday life. They want to do something different. While others just want to get away to improve their health and medical condition. Others want to be immersed in the culture and learn something new. But a vast majority of them do it for religious reasons, to contemplate the Creator of heaven and earth. It seems that one way or another, all of them are searching for something that tickles their fancy or burns at their heart. Truth be told, they are all searching for God. God is the designer of all creation and can be found within it. Like the old woman who was suffering from hemorrhaging for many years, who said, "If I could only touch the hem of his garment, it will be enough for me." But others are a bit farther down the road. The original Christians were known as the people of the way. The way continues to take us further and deeper into the mystery of God. It draws us into its sweetness until we surrender to his will, ultimately realizing that through that surrender, we are truly set free. We began to see the Lord as the treasure here on earth, and a treasure that must be obtained. Looking for buried treasure is nothing new. This country is full of stories related to the burial and finding of buried treasure, from the tales of the lost Dutchman mine in the southwest portion of the country to the quest for Spanish galleons off the Gulf Coast from Florida to Texas. The attraction is so alluring that men have devoted their entire lives and their life savings searching for such items as Spanish pieces of 8 and gold doubloons. It's interesting that in today's gospel reading, Jesus teaches in another parable that the kingdom of heaven could be compared to something as precious and valuable as the finding of treasure. But the treasure hunter has to have a bit of knowledge as to where that treasure may be. In addition, he has to be able to realize how valuable and precious that treasure is. Jesus gives us a couple of examples. First, we hear of a man who's discovered a valuable treasure in a field. He buries the treasure, then going home, he collects all that he has. It goes out and buys that field in order to possess that treasure. In that second parable, a pearl merchant finds the finest pearl that he has ever seen, goes home, collects everything that he has, and then goes and buys it in order to possess it. What do the two men have in common? They have come upon a treasure of great value, and in so doing, they are willing to give everything that they own to possess it. We too are searching for those things that will bring us true happiness and joy. What many of us don't realize is that the treasure lays beneath our feet, or better yet, upon the altars of Catholic churches. Jesus Christ is present within the Blessed Sacrament, body and blood, soul and divinity. And even better, he allows us to possess him and bury him within our souls every time that we receive Holy Communion. He is the treasure that resides within our churches. Yes, he is truly present and continues to show himself within the sacrament, even to this current day. Many people who are not Catholic are searching for Jesus, but either they don't know or don't believe in his teaching. Many Catholics do not believe either, and eventually leave the church not knowing that they were oh so close to their Lord and Savior. One of the primary reasons that people come back to the Catholic Church is because they are drawn back to the desire to receive the Eucharist, to receive Jesus in communion. These people have been called reverts as they left the church, but they came back to the true altar of Christ. The table set by other churches did not satisfy, and their teachings were not consistent with the fullness of the Bible and tradition. Jesus began his pilgrimage on earth back to the heavenly promised land. He told his apostles that they knew the way, but unlike other treasure, this heavenly treasure came at a cost that was paid by the Son of God. There are few things that Jesus requires of us before we too can share in the heavenly treasure. Love God with all your mind, all your body, all your soul, and your strength, and to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And finally, pick up your cross and walk with him. Jesus humbled himself and took the form of a slave for us. Just think for a minute. How many Catholic churches do you pass by in a given day? Did you ever stop to think that Jesus was there in the tabernacle of that church, body and blood, soul and divinity, waiting for us, waiting for you? Yes, he waits there for all of us, patiently, graciously, like a loving mother whose children have gone on to pursue their way of life. She too waits for their return, to receive their love, and to once again give her the love of giving life that she gave to them so many years before. Our mothers and fathers are and/or were our very own treasures from God. As very young children, and as we began to grasp the world around us, it was they that we saw. It was they who provided for us, giving us everything we needed. Unknowingly, they were the closest things to God that we knew. Don't ignore God when he comes up to you in the streets, asking for something to eat, or to receive a smile from a child at the park, or a thank you from an elderly person when you courteously attend to them, to his needs. And don't ignore God in the tabernacle of your church, or when you receive him in communion. He waits for us. He thirsts for us. You know, there's plenty of treasure, heavenly treasure, to go around.